Good afternoon. Here we are back with your solution for this weekend's challenge. If you remember, we had a chessboard. We had a chessboard that, as we said, was made up of these little squares. We counted, we found out there were 64 of these little squares on the board. I then extended the challenge and said, right, I want you to consider how many squares there are in total, and that includes all squares of different sizes. So, we talked about squares that were 2 by 2. We talked about squares that were 3 by 3, and we said that that would continue all the way up to the whole square, the whole board, which is one big square. And I said to you, you need to find out the total. So all of the different sizes of squares, how many of those could you fit on? And then add it all up. I also then set you, if you remember, an extension and said, can you find a pattern? So we're looking for not just the total, but also a pattern in those answers. And what we should find from that is that you might then be able to predict what would happen if I were to make my chessboard bigger. Okay, but we'll come on to that a bit later. So, as you can see, what I've done is I've written down the side here all the different sizes of square that we could find on this chessboard. Starting with our 1 by 1 square, all the way down to our full board 8 by 8. So the two things we know from what we said already is that there are 64 little squares. We counted that last time. We know that for sure. We also know that there was only one 8 by 8 square because it is the whole board. We can't move it around and put it in a different place. All the other squares, we can put them into a different place. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the different answers. Okay? And then we'll talk about the total at the end. Notice, as I write them down, if you have had a go at the extension, or if you didn't spot anything, see if you do spot something as I put the numbers down. Okay, there is a pattern there, and see if you can spot it. Okay. So we had 1 by 1, 64, 2 by 2 was 49, 3 by 3, 36, 4 by 4, 25, 5 by 5 is 16, 6 by 6 was 9, the 7 by 7 there was only 4, and then the 8 by 8 we knew we had 1. If I add those up, I get the grand total of 204 squares. So if you got the answer 204, fantastic, well done, congratulations. If you didn't, have a look at those numbers, maybe see where you didn't get something, where you missed something out. Now, the pattern. Have we noticed anything about these numbers? Have we? Is there anything in those numbers? Maybe if I read them from the bottom up, you might look at those and go, I recognise those numbers. They are a pattern that I've come across before. And they are. And quite appropriately, these are square numbers. So here we are talking about squares on a chessboard, and what we've created is a pattern that is actually the pattern of square numbers. So if you imagine we extended this and we actually had a 9 by 9 board, all of these numbers would move down. And the next number to come in at the top here would of course be 9 times 9, which is 81. So we would be able to continue the pattern and find out how many squares on any size chessboard at all. Okay, so maybe you might want to go away and play with that and think about, if I had a 20 by 20 square, could I work out the answer without drawing it out? And of course you could, if you're very, very clever. If you do, let us know. And thank you very much for watching, and we will see you very soon.